Ever get that weird, unsettling tug in your stomach when a teammate's story just doesn't quite add up? Or maybe their behavior feels off? You're not paranoid, trust me. The truth is, workplace dishonesty is far more common than most of us realize. And it's not always about grand Hollywood-style heists. Up to 75% of employees admit to stealing from work at least once, and the vast majority are never caught on camera or even suspected. So how do you spot the subtle cues, the quiet alarms that signal something's amiss? Stick around. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which everyday behaviors separate the harmless oddball from the coworker who could silently torpedo your team, your reputation, and maybe even your job. This isn't about being suspicious of everyone, but about pattern recognition to protect yourself and your organization. Section 1. The Vault of Secrecy. First up, the biggest red flag. They treat their workspace like it's Fort Knox, and every piece of information within it is a state secret. We're talking papers perpetually flipped face down, computer screens angled so sharply even a contortionist couldn't peek, and passwords changed more often than some people change their socks. It's not just about privacy, it's about control and concealment. Remember that analyst in Chicago who steadfastly refused to cross-train anyone else, claiming it was to stay efficient? Turns out she was rerouting client refunds straight to her own prepaid card. When someone hoards information that should be shared or becomes unusually defensive when asked simple questions about their work, you have to ask yourself, what exactly is that knowledge really protecting? Often, it's not company secrets, but their own misconduct. This secretive or defensive behavior is a classic warning sign of potential dishonesty. Section 2. The Schedule Martyr. Next, let's talk about the teammate who never, ever takes a vacation. Seriously, not even a long weekend. We all know hustle culture is real and dedication is admirable, but consistently refusing time off. That's a massive red flag. Fraud cases repeatedly show that a continuous, uninterrupted presence is often used to cover altered records or ongoing schemes. Think about it. If they're always there, who's going to notice if something's been tweaked? When the payroll clerk in Dallas finally, reluctantly, took a long weekend for a family emergency, discrepancies in the accounts surfaced almost immediately on Monday morning. Rotating duties isn't just bureaucratic red tape. It's a vital insurance policy, a check and balance designed to expose irregularities. If someone fights against it, they might have something to hide. Section 3. The buddy-buddy vendor dance watch. Out for the coworker who seems to lunch with suppliers more often than they do their own family. A friendly rapport with vendors is fine, even encouraged. But when that rapport crosses into overly close relationships, especially when it results in single-sourced purchase orders that mysteriously skip the usual bidding process, that's where you need to dig deeper. Take the warehouse supervisor in Seattle. He routinely approved rush invoices from his golf buddy for supplies, marked up by a staggering 30%. The dead giveaway? The same distinct handwriting on every single receipt. If your coworker knows their vendor's coffee order, their kids' names, and their golf handicap, but accounting barely recognizes the vendor's name, something's probably off. This kind of cozy relationship can easily facilitate collusion or outright fraud. Section 4. The living above means glow up. This one's pretty obvious, but often overlooked. The sudden, unexplained lifestyle upgrade. We're talking a brand new luxury car, a flashy designer watch, or weekly ski trips to Aspen, all on a junior salary that clearly can't support it. Lifestyle leaps that dramatically outpace someone's legitimate payroll are classic evidence of potential fraud. Remember, fraud always needs two things: motive and opportunity. Extravagant spending is often the glaring billboard for the motive, signaling financial pressure or greed. Perhaps they're dealing with personal problems like gambling debts, substance abuse, or just a desire for a life they can't afford. Keep a quiet, discreet mental note of these gaps. HR or an ethics committee will thank you later for documenting these subtle yet significant changes. Section 5. The blur of numbers. Fifth red flag. Their spreadsheets look less like financial records and more like abstract art. We're talking endless crossouts, suspicious whiteout smudges, or the classic oops, wrong version excuse that pops up constantly. Look, honest mistakes happen once in a while. We're all human. But repeated typos that always seem to favor the same account or consistently benefit the same person. That's not an accident. That's a pattern. In Phoenix, a property manager was notorious for correcting rent rolls so frequently that the digital files actually crashed. When IT finally managed to recover the backup copies, they uncovered over $18,000 skimmed through cleverly disguised rounding errors. Audit trails don't lie, but people certainly do, especially when they're trying to obscure their tracks. Section 6. The deflection king or queen. Ask a simple, direct question, and instead of a clear answer, you get a Shakespearean monologue. Evasive answers, blame shifting, and the ever-annoying "per my last email" are all classic deflection tactics. The truth, as they say, is usually concise. Deception, on the other hand, often requires elaborate scenery, long-winded explanations, and pointing fingers in every direction but their own. If every inquiry you make about a discrepancy or an issue turns into a lengthy story about somebody else's incompetence or how circumstances beyond their control led to the problem, you're likely talking to the problem, not about it. Watch for inconsistent timelines, fidgeting, or avoiding eye contact. These are all behavioral signs of someone trying to avoid accountability. Section 7. The control freak reflex. And finally, the last flag. They fight new controls or process improvements like their life depends on it. Suggest rotating duties to spread the workload and reduce risk. It's inefficient, they'll protest. Propose dual signatures for high-value transactions. That's just unnecessary red tape. These forceful protests reveal the real red flag. Their opportunity to exploit a loose system is drying up. Fraudsters thrive in environments with weak internal controls. When you tighten those controls, when you implement segregation of duties, or when you introduce more oversight, watch closely to see who squirms the loudest. Their resistance isn't about productivity, it's about protecting their illicit activities. Wrap-up spotting. A corporate thief isn't about fostering a culture of paranoia, it's about developing a keen eye for pattern recognition and protecting your team, your company, and frankly, yourself. Remember these 7 key indicators: extreme secrecy, the refusal to take time off, suspiciously close vendor relationships, an unexplained lavish lifestyle, consistently messy or altered financial records, constant deflection when questioned, and aggressive resistance to new controls. If you notice 3 or more of these aligning with a coworker's behavior, it's not just a coincidence. It's time to speak up confidentially to a supervisor, HR, or an ethics hotline. Your silence, however well-intentioned, could cost the entire team its bonus, erode morale, or even compromise the company's integrity and future. Don't let someone else's dishonesty become everyone's problem. Found this breakdown helpful? Hit that like button so the algorithm can show it to the coworker who needs it most. And if you've got your own red flag story, anonymously of course, drop it in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe for more no-fluff career intel and practical advice every single week.